Welcome back. I'm Scott Williford, and this is Howard Flint, and we have been having a very lively discussion about content and how to utilize it and how to take advantage of it. And when we ended our last segment, we were talking about some of the trends and things that are going on.
Right.
I recently saw an excellent article about how companies are leveraging content and how they're really starting to spend more. It was the Content Marketing Institute study. And they said that 60% of the businesses out there are either going to increase or significantly increase their spending on content marketing. So what do you know about them, and what do you think about that statistic?
It's certainly right from what we've experienced. I'm a fan of the Content Marketing Institute. In fact, I'm a friend of Joe Polizzi, and we have a product together, a service together that we do. And he knows his stuff, and so yeah, he's right, and that's what we're finding too, is that if they're not hiring in-house, that's good for us, because they come to a company like us and say, look, we're smaller or medium-sized, we can't have writers on staff, but we need you to handle this. So that's been great, and we've seen a big increase.
So the other thing that was in that study is they indicated different tactics that people were using, and back to earlier, much earlier in our first segment, you talked about how you were getting out of the print and postage business. That had actually decreased and continued to decrease, that print newsletter piece. But it said number one is blogs.
Yep.
Blog is a tactic. And number two projection for this year is video. So what are your thoughts about that?
Certainly not surprised by that at all. The number two search engine out there is YouTube, which isn't even a search engine. But people go to YouTube to look up an answer for anything that, how to fix a leaky sink, they go to YouTube for. So I think that's the place. If you're an expert, and if you own a business or you're part of a business, you should be an expert. You should be using something in video.
Well, that's obviously what vLink does. We're in the video business, and we think a lot of the same rules that you've been talking about with content and titling and frequency apply. This format, we call it a webisode, and typically we'll take a 15 or 20-minute conversation and then break it up into multiple segments, which is what we've been doing. What are your thoughts about that strategy, and then releasing those segments? Give me some free advice. I got you on the show.
Absolutely. No, I think it's great. I think it's a great idea. I think that anytime you can take up, especially if you have to get a big point across, something you're not going to cover in 250, 350 words, take a bigger piece and then dole it out. And I think people can consume it. And especially with video, gone are the days, they're gone, but older are the days we would sit in chairs and watch television and see the news. Now we're consuming that on an iPad or a little phone or something. So in smaller segments, it's easier for the consumer now to consume that and pause it when they need to, or come to part two later if they need it. Right.
In fact, what we recommend for video bloggers that do work with us is think about the number of words in your script and make it about 90 seconds long. And so, I think with blogging, there's a rule how long a typical blog needs to be too, right?
Yeah. You try to stay with some guidelines, but I think especially with the video, and you've seen this, is somebody thinks, oh, I can just come in and get on camera. You still have to have good content. You still need to know what you want to say, you want to get to that point quickly, and you want to be able to close out of there. And so I don't think it's any different between the written word or whether you're on video. It's got to be good content.
Right. You mentioned also earlier about the writer's voice, the company's voice, and so we think that's also a big part of video as well. That's why we recommend that while you can use talent, it's a lot of times better to use company executives and company staff.
Absolutely.
You agree?
Well, we do business with people we know and like.
Right.
And that isn't going to change no matter how far technology goes. And I think your service is a great way of leveraging your brand, which might be you, which might be me, but put that out so when somebody comes to your website, they can say, okay, I feel comfortable with that guy. I've seen him now and I heard him talk. Now I know he's the expert.
Well, this has been a great conversation. So, Howard, I'm going to have you back on another series, and maybe we can talk about some of the trends and stuff that is going on maybe later in the year. And I do want to meet Joe.
Yep, absolutely.
So this is Scott Williford. We've been talking to Howard Flint of Ghost Partner. His contact information is on the bottom of the screen. Please connect with him. I think you'll find that his services are reasonably priced and very high quality. And we look forward to hearing about your successes. Thank you for tuning in.